After defeating the Indianapolis Colts, the Cleveland Browns are now 4-1 to start off the 2020 NFL season, and this is their best start since the 1994 NFL season, where the Cleveland Browns went 11-5 under head coach Bill Belichick and lost in the divisional round. For today's video, I'm going to be explaining the losing history of the Cleveland Browns and going in depth on it. And just for some background information, I'm starting off with the 1999 season because that's when they became a new expansion team. The team that Bill Belichick was a part of ended in 1995, and they ended up moving to Baltimore, but they were not able to keep the name the Cleveland Browns. It's kind of complex. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but just know I'm starting off in 1999 when they were a new expansion team. In the 1999 season, the Cleveland Browns were a new expansion team and did not have very high expectations, and they were not very good at all. They were 2-14 for the season, and they were last place in their division, being 6th place. Yes, they actually had 6 teams that season. I didn't even know that, but they did. And under head coach Palmer, they did not have a very good record, being only 2-14. But there wasn't much expectations as they were just now a new team. For the 2000 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns were yet again last place in their division and 6th place in the AFC Central Division. And they went 3-13 and kept up the same pace as the season prior with Coach Palmer. They were struggling on offense yet again and defense. They're bottom 5 in both categories. For the 2001 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns improved drastically from the 2 seasons prior. For this season, they went 7-9 and were 3rd in the AFC Central Division, and they even had a new head coach in Butch Davis, who helped their team a lot. And they even had offensive coordinator Bruce Arians and defensive coordinator Forge Fazio. For this season, the team did improve on offense and defense. Offense, not so much because they were 25th out of 31 teams in the league, but defense, they improved drastically to be the 15th best defense in all of the NFL. In the 2002 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns were even better from the season prior, and they were improving a lot now under head coach Butch Davis. They ended up going 9-7 and were 2nd place in the AFC North Division. And the offense and defense went up dramatically from the season prior. In offense, they ranked 19th, as in defense, they were a top 10 defense, ranked at number 10, and they even made a playoff appearance this season, but they lost in the wild card round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Going into the 2003 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns were looking somewhat promising under head coach Butch Davis because they just came off a playoff appearance. Even though they lost in the wild card round, it's still a playoff appearance, and it was their first one ever as an expansion team when they started off in 1999. But the 2003 season would be disappointing for the Browns, as although they were 9-7 the season prior, they would end up going 5-11 and would finish in last place in their division, in the AFC North Division. And the offense dramatically declined as they were 29th in offense that season out of 32 teams, but the defense did stay on the same pace as they were the 12th best defense in the NFL. In the 2004 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would decline even more this season. They would end up going 4-12 and finishing last place in the AFC North Division, and they would go through 2 different head coaches. Butch Davis would be fired after his 3-8 start, and Terry Robisky would only be there for 5 games after starting off 1-4. And the defense, oh man, the defense went bad. After they went 12th the season prior, they ended up finishing 24th in the season for the 2004 NFL season. But on offense, they did go up. They went up to 27th, still bottom 5 in the NFL. In the 2005 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would be a little bit of a better team this season, especially on the defensive end, but the offense was dead last in production. In the 2005 NFL season, the Browns finished 6-10 and last place in their division. The offense, like I said earlier, was awful, but the defense was pretty good, being the 11th best defense in the NFL, and their new head coach was Romeo Crennel. In the 2006 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns struggled immensely as they were 4-12 and finished last in the AFC North Division under head coach Romeo Crennel yet again. The offense was bottom 5 still, ranking 30th in the NFL for production, and the defense was ranked 22nd in the NFL. In the 2007 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns had their best season yet since they became an expansion team in 1999. They finished 10-6 and second in the AFC North Division under head coach Romeo Crennel. The offense was a top 10 offense, ranking 8th out of 32 teams, but the defense still wasn't very good, ranking 21st out of the 32 teams, and despite them going 10-6, they still missed the playoffs. Despite coming off a very good season in the 2007 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns were disappointing in 2008. They ended up finishing 4-12 and were last place in the AFC North Division under head coach Romeo Crennel. The defense was decent. They actually improved to be the 16th best defense in the NFL, but the offense, on the other hand, which was a top 10 offense in the 2007 season, dramatically, I mean, like they fell off completely. They were the 30th best offense in the NFL, and there's only 32 teams. In the 2009 NFL season, Eric Mangini was the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and they would end up going 5-11 and finishing last place in the AFC North Division. For this season, they finished 29th in offense and 21st on defense. In the 2010 season, the Cleveland Browns would keep up the same pace from the season prior, but they would finish 3rd place in the AFC North Division after going 5-11 under head coach Eric Mangini yet again. But the offense was awful. They were 31st out of 32 teams that season for offensive production, and that season as well, they were 13th on defense. In the 2011 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would have a new head coach in Pat Shurmur. He helped the defense become very good, but the offense was awful. The defense was in 5th place in the NFL for points allowed, which was very impressive for this team. But the offense was yet again the 30th best offense in the NFL. They would end up finishing 4-12 this season and last place in the AFC North Division. In the 2012 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would go 5-11 and last place in the AFC North Division, and they would have head coach Pat Shurmur yet again. The offense did improve slightly, being the 24th best offense in the NFL, but the defense would decline dramatically, being the 19th best offense in the NFL. The 2013 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would end up going 4-12 in last place in the AFC North Division with new head coach Rob Chudzinski. I know I'm probably butchering that, and I'm sorry if I am. Not every last name is easy to pronounce. But offense was 27th best in the league, and the defense was 23rd best in the league. It was not very good, but there wasn't much expectations for them to be really good. In the 2014 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would end up being pretty impressive, I would say, especially for Browns standards. They went 7-9 and were in 4th place in the AFC North Division with new head coach Mike Pettine. And the offense ranked in 27th best, and the defense was 9th best. And this season, it looked like they were off to a pretty good start, and looks like they could even go to the playoffs when they were 7-4. But they lost the rest of the games and ended up to be 7-9. In the 2015 NFL season, Mike Pettine, the head coach of the Browns, would struggle immensely with this team. They ended up going 3-13 in last place in the AFC North Division. They fell off quite a bit from the 7-9 season they had the season prior. The offense and defense was bottom 5 in the league, and the team just was awful. In the 2016 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would hire a new head coach. This head coach is definitely the worst Browns head coach in history, and Hugh Jackson. In his first season as a head coach in the 2016 NFL season, they would end up going 1-15. I don't even have to tell y'all what they finished in the AFC North Division. It's known. They finished last. They were 1-15. You can't expect them to be 3rd. And they were awful. They were bottom 5 in offense and defense. And that's not even being nice to the other bottom 5 teams. They were 31st on offense and 30th on defense. This team was a dumpster fire. But it could only get better, right? Yeah, it got worse. It got way worse. In the 2017 NFL season, the Browns would join the Detroit Lions from the 2008 season and be the second team ever to go 0-16 in an NFL season. They went 0-16 this season, and they were obviously the last place team in the AFC North Division, and this team had the worst offense and the second worst defense. They were an even bigger dumpster fire than the season prior. Hugh Jackson was failing left and right. In the 2018 NFL season, the Browns would see some sign of life. Not really much with Hugh Jackson, though. They would have 2 different head coaches this season. Hugh Jackson would end up going 2-5-1 with 1 tie, and Greg Williams went 5-3, which I think was very impressive, and I was shocked when he didn't get rehired as the next year's head coach. But this year they went 7-8-1. They had one tie and finished third in the AFC North Division, and the offense was ranked 20th and the defense was ranked 21st. Definitely an improvement from the season prior, going 0-16. In the 2019 NFL season, the Cleveland Browns would definitely dip a little bit in production with new head coach Freddie Kitchens. They would end up going 6-10 in third place in the AFC North Division, but the offense and defense pretty much stayed on the same level as the season prior to an extent. The offense was ranked 22nd and the defense was ranked 20th. And now, current day, 2020, in the 2020 NFL season, as I said earlier, the Cleveland Browns are now 4-1 under new head coach Kevin Stefanski, and the offense looks light years better than they did last season, but the defense honestly looks worse. A lot of the losing from 1999 to present day 2020 has been because of poor ownership, poor coaching, and the players just not being very good. I mean, the ownership and the GMs and coaches, they're not drafting very good players, and the development's not very good. I mean, they've drafted a lot of busts. The Browns might have drafted more busts than any team recently. I mean, if you go back to some of their recent drafts, you'll see that they have had a lot of players not pan out at all for them, and a lot of them are out of the NFL already, and some of them are even first-round picks who are not even in the NFL now. And obviously, there's that, but there's also the fact that they've had like 30 quarterbacks since 1999 to now. But I'm not going to go too much on that because I want to make a whole video about all the Browns quarterbacks since 1999 because I think it is interesting. And if I talk about it in this video, I'm going to be making a 45-minute video, and I don't want to do that. But if you guys like the video, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. Bkelly out!